You have the Chronic's Rabbit Hole, and Louisana, thank you so much for your YouTube membership request. You are bringing some Florence in the Machine back down the rabbit hole, and I'm super excited because today you are bringing us the Everybody Scream interview and live performance and mysticism. I can't wait to get into this one.
Yeah, of Florence and the Machine, and Zane Lowe, who is doing the interview for Apple Music, actually is an incredible interviewer. We actually have a reaction where Zane Lowe is interviewing Linkin Park. So I don't know if you were there for that one. It might have just been me, but he's really good. And he's the guy that always gets to get these interviews.
Absolutely.
So goals one day, right? So let's go check out this awesome Apple Music interview with Florence in a way that we really haven't seen her yet. I wonder if this is at Florence Welch's actual home.
It looks like it might be, which is really cool.
Let's find out. Thank you all for being here.
I've been given this enormous gift, which I wanted my whole life. You know, all I wanted to do was sing. But is that somehow going to take something else from me that I would love to have?
Ooh.
Congratulations. What a beautiful and heavy and amazing body of music.
Thank you.
I almost shy away from calling it a record because that would give it sort of an infrastructure definition that falls into line with other records. And it isn't. It feels to me like it was just a necessity, a very important thing for you to dive into your curiosity and just learn about yourself, and a lot of life going on in this album.
Yeah, I think there was basically an urgency to this record, like it kind of like
What a gentle voice.
it like came out of me in this like furious burst, and it's one of those records where if I hadn't have put it out now, it never would have come out, because I think I would have, like, how I felt about things is so specific to this moment in time, and this record kind of like roared out of me, and it was a record that was made almost like a coping mechanism.
Yeah, for
and
sure.
I think, as with all records, there's usually a period of time where you think it's never going to get finished or never going to get made, or like you can't find the right like person to work with, or you thought you were going to work with one producer and then they're not available, and then you're like, oh God, who am I going to like?
Yeah, you're an infrastructure, and it's
And then you
everyone
think the
else,
record is just not happening.
Yeah.
And there was this like, oh, well, we can delay it. I was like, there's no delaying this one. Like, it's either now or this record never comes out. I will not feel the way that I feel about this in
totally.
like a couple of years.
Don't
So
get
there
cold
was this
feet.
like ferocious urgency to this one. I sort of almost like made it in like a fog, I think. Like I did think I had quite a lot. Was still like processing what happened to me, and
Like she still is.
sort of like I had like a level of PTSD that almost like when the record was finished, I was like, wait, what just happened?
Wow.
I was like, oh my God, there's a record now.
Did you get a sense of that in the writing? And I feel like listening to this album, it's almost like you restrain yourself from performing these words sometimes, and just speaking them is enough. They you hush them in. You find ways for the words to really hold the attention. And so was this just a process of writing before you even thought about like what it would do from a song per se?
Yeah, I mean, that is sort of my...
Good questions, right?
Very good questions.
It's kind of
I
my
love his
process, I
delivery.
think.
Yeah, so calm and natural too, and I think that's what artists really appreciate, is someone who actually knows the correct question for artists, because you can tell he's asking those specific ones and almost it assumes the knowledge, and they both are
Yeah.
assuming they have the knowledge, which is actually breeds a different type of conversation, right?
It does. It really does.
A few of them were written in the room, but mostly my process is like having a lot of words. Like I feel quite strange if I come to the studio without words. Like usually what compels me to go into a studio is I have a whole song written out, or I think I had one of the greats, it's like really long poem that I started writing on tour, and actually, I started sharing a notes app with Mark Bowen from Idols, and I think things started getting added to there. It was like one of the greats Kraken, I had Buckle,
Ooh,
was
Kraken.
knocking around, and the only thing that was on that thing that we really didn't have was a song for Everybody Scream. I just had the title. So it was like, Florence the Machine, Everybody Scream. Like, song to come,
need
but
that.
this
Yeah.
is the song.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, so
That's
I
cool.
do I do have a tendency to start with words. And then sometimes that can actually be kind of hard because it's like then structuring almost like it's so set in what it is, like that finding what it is
Yeah.
musically can be sometimes tricky. You're
Yeah.
like, oh, okay, the song is like fully formed, but what the fuck does the music sound like?
It actually
around
makes total sense because when
Right.
I listen to your music and I feel like I said, the arrangements are really always following what it is you're saying. And I know that seems like an obvious thing to say, but I don't think it is. Sometimes people go in and there's already a structure and then they just hum a melody and it's subconscious.
No,
They put the
and I've
words to it.
seen, I've seen like, I'm really fascinated to see people who sing
can do
gibberish
that.
and do the melody first. And I'm like, I think it's quite rare for me. I think I've only done that like once or twice.
Interesting.
It's quite rare for me to do that. Like usually there is a story or a poem that has taken shape and that's what I'm kind of coming into the studio with. And then you have to like create the cinema, you know, you have to like, with the music, create the visual of what that song is saying.
You said you wrote one of the greats, or started at least, a poem you were writing it when you were on tour.
Yeah, please share.
That makes a lot of sense on why it's Florence and the Machine, because she starts with the words, she starts with the song. And then the machine that she has is what then has to match the
Fully
words of the
calibrates
song and calibrate to the blueprint.
It matches what the essence of what story wants to be told perfectly. So it's like a soundtrack for her voice.
It is a soundtrack for her voice, so it brings in that different layer to it, whereas like a lot of musicians will come up with the melody first, like Thomas and like a lot of these bands who we've been listening to for so long in this channel often come up with the melody first, like she says, humming along and singing gibberish and then bringing in the lyrics after.
Yeah.
Or they send the pre-created demo to the singer who then creates a song for the demo. Whereas Florence has created the bone structure of the bare bones of her music from the words itself, from story. So it's just really cool to see that different layer coming through within this interview.
I agree.
That song is hilarious and caustic and defiant and vulnerable and all of these things that I hear in it at least, which is just this kind of like,
Well said.
you know, stream of consciousness of sort of,
Stream of consciousness rant, like,
you know, like, fuck you and I'm awesome, but
going
man,
off.
maybe I'm not awesome enough and how do I get awesome? And it's awesome.
like, I hate you, why don't you fancy me?
100%. So what's going on
Love her
in the
laugh.
middle of tour or when you're on
She
tour
hides like
where
you.
that comes to mind and you have this feeling of sort of inadequacy meets defiance?
Yeah, I think
Nice.
that's, I think,
Great way
yeah.
to say it.
I think that is like,
Aw.
I mean, I think it sums up the song quite well. I mean, the song is constantly throwing itself
It's
under the
adorable.
bus as well. It's like, I'm this, I'm that, you know, like,
Uh-huh.
and about the cycle of like, I'm the best, I'm the fucking worst, I'm the best, which I think is part
So
of
many
making
up and
things,
downs.
you know. I think I do a lot of writing on tour actually, because I like to write while I'm in motion or daydreaming, and there's like dead time. But yeah, I was thinking about greatness and like the cost of greatness and how every album I'm like, I'm going to be satisfied with this one. I'm going to be completely satisfied. I'm going to have no issues with it. And how it almost like never happens, you know? And then at the cost of greatness as well. And I guess it was processing like, I feel like it was like, well, maybe I got there, but like at what cost as well? Like what cost to my sanity and to my life and to the other lives I could have had. And it was sort of about the brutality of ambition and the almost like violence of greatness as well. The things that you put yourself through and that you put your loved ones through to like
your
get there,
peers.
you know, like every interaction or like, you know, moment is sort of like fodder for the song, you know, like you miss all these family moments and it feels like this relentless thing of just like forgetting how hard it is, forgetting how you're never satisfied, and every time a tour and an album is over being like, I'm gonna do it again. And this one will be the one, like I will be happy, it will be perfect, you know? And
Interesting.
I don't think, when you're young and like people aren't taking you seriously, you don't really think it's because you're a young woman. You just think it's you, you know, like you just think it's because you're annoying or you're too much or you're like, and it does really hurt early because I see it happen now to others and I'm like, oh, it wasn't about you, you know, because it just feels like this cycle. But I think it happens to a lot of artists, but it seems like it happens quite particularly to young women where they are suddenly blasted into the public sphere. And then everyone tells you that you don't deserve to be there. And like, I think like lungs exploding when I was that young, you know, you can't help but sort of absorb and feel like sort of, yeah, like you get the big thing, but it comes at this thing of like, which is public exposure and you're pushed in everyone's faces in a way that sometimes it feels like young women are just kind of eaten, you know what I mean? Like devoured and so you're sort of like pushed in front of people too much and then everyone is like, well, actually, no, you're terrible, like go away, you know? So it just feels like this crazy thing happens to you that for me, I think I got, which I'm so, you know, on some level I'm so grateful for because I still have this amazing life and I have the people that have been with me since the beginning, but it felt like I got all that attention young and then spent the next 15 years trying to prove I deserve it.
That's how you cope?
Yeah.
I tried to cope is just by keep going and trying to prove
I'll
it.
prove that moment, that I was worthy of that moment, you know? So it's like, did I get it right? Do I win the prize, you know?
Has this album has it broken the spell of that?
A little bit, maybe a little bit. You know, because I think it was also, you can't help but just like absorb.
Before she jumps into that, I just want to say incredible space to allow Florence just to go off there on that slight little bit of a rabbit hole tangent that was all tied together, and she was allowed to tie it together because she had the space to bring all these different ideas.
He didn't interrupt her while she was thinking aloud.
Yeah, and it was really cool to see her go through this, and even on the other side, I never really thought from her side, because she always talked about maybe not having that personal relationship on like making a family, but even just the family you already have, that you're missing those family events because you're always going touring and just like those little things that you missed.
Your parents, your sisters, your aunts, your uncles.
Something else wrong. Something else that's maybe not satisfying you the way it used to when you were younger, because now you don't have as much to prove even now too.
Well, like I was even just thinking about that as well. Like, look how much of a drive proving yourself really is. But like, she's going through this drive of even having to prove herself over proving herself.
Yeah.
Right. So like, it's such a crazy thing to keep going, and it does get exhausting at times. But then I love what she's saying about, you think every single one of the next concerts is going to be, is this enough? And you have to become satisfied with not being satisfied.
Yeah, because then you're chasing the dragon forever, right?
Right, and a lot of her songs are
no one knows when to end it.
No one knows when to end it.
Yeah.
And she just is also like, I'm so lucky to be able to do this, so why would I stop?
Totally. And like,
right?
I just saw like NF just put an album called Fear, and that's kind of what he's going through. Like, am I done? Am I on the downcline too? Like, have I done enough where I'm satisfied now? I don't even need to rap. I'm 30 years old now. I'm kind of not the same gritty guy.
Yeah.
So like, it's just interesting to see how a lot of artists are kind of struggling through this right now.
It's exactly
what is worth it for you, and that's a great, meaningful conversation.
The feeling that maybe you're not good enough, or you're not like, because you're not to some people's taste, that there's something like wrong or you need to change or whatever. Like, you can't help absorb that when you were young. And I do think
even now.
like I do think I've had some sort of revelation just through keeping on making work and seeing the people that come to my shows, and now honestly having like younger people find my work and find the biggest, craziest songs I've ever made and love them.
Yeah.
Like, love them. So I'm like, oh my God, there was like, I was doing something that people loved, you know? Like, it feels like...
You're a legend.
I think
Florence, come on.
more and more people kind of discovering it has almost like soothed so much of that early like shame about how big I was and how kind of like expressive I was. So...
Right.
That's been like really healing, and I think I'm realizing that, oh, it's for them, and for the people who it's not for, it's just not for them, and that's okay, and I don't have to please them. And I think I've said that every time I've made a record where I'm like, I don't care about what people think, but I think this is the only album where I genuinely like
Meant it.
don't because of what it cost me. You know what I mean? I'm just like, it cost me so much to make this album. Like,
Wow.
the people who it's not for, like, that's okay. You know, like, I know who it's for now.
Yeah.
And I think that
That's
has
beautiful.
changed.
Can I ask you, when you say what it cost me, when you say cost, where did it come from?
Well, it's been really interesting. Like,
Real quick
Yeah,
on
it
this, because we're just thinking about the cost. Do you want to just put on the heat? Or are you good still?
I think I'm good still. Why? Do you need it?
I wouldn't mind just one fan going. Thank you, honey, for that.
it's really interesting. I think, like, the last record was like, do I want to have children? Like, there's a song called King where it was like,
Just making sure we're recording.
like, do I want to be a mother? Like, is that even, like, can I see myself in that role? Like, I want it, but I'm also defiant of it. And then I think I kind of came to the end of that tour, and I don't know, I felt this, like, freedom and excitement, and there was a feeling of, I did want to, like, you know, I wanted to see if I could try and have a family, you know, after the tour. The tour was, like, winding down. We only had a month left to go. And then I ended up, which was really wild because, I mean, I do talk about the prescience of songwriting sometimes, but there was this line in King which was like, I never knew my killer would be coming from within. And it was a song about, like, motherhood. And, you know, I have spoken in the past about the sort of strange, like, subconscious prescience of songwriting. But then I actually ended up having a ectopic miscarriage on stage that was dangerous and that I had to be hospitalized for. And I had to have immediate surgery because I had, like, I had a Coke can of blood in my abdomen, and I didn't want to go to the scan because I just wanted to keep touring. And I was like, I've been through many physical things on stage. I can get through this. And they were like, no, you're coming in to have a scan. And then I was immediately taken into surgery. And I was like, and then I went back on stage 10 days later and, like, was singing that song, in this like, I don't know how I did that. I think I was just in like a total fog at that point.
Do you think you were just trying to cope? Was that what going back on stage was? Because obviously there would have been people around you that would have given you the grace required to process.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think I didn't want to end the tour. Like, I had 2 shows left.
Right.
And I was like, that's why I was like, I don't want to, I have something has been taken from me that I didn't want to happen. I don't also want to end my whole tour that I, like, on
Another
this,
thing taken too.
And yeah, I just, like, went back and played. It's also going back to the only place that I feel like I could really, like, feel a sense of control and power again, like ectopic pregnancies are really painful. And before I did the gig, when I didn't know that that's what was happening to me, I was in a lot of pain. And yet I stepped onto the stage and I felt it all just went away, it all went away, like, all the pain went away. And there was wind blowing, and I was like, whatever is here, it's going to carry me through this moment. And I felt like this presence that's always been with me on stage, like, just, and it was outside, it was by the sea, the wind was blowing. It was very gothic. It was like a white lace dress, but really, like, all the pain just, like, went away. And I was, I just was there and in the mud and the rain and with, like, these people, and I didn't feel anything, and so, and then, so to kind of then go back to the stage just makes sense to me. I kind of want to go back to this to this place that like it's weird, isn't it? Because it's like you'd think something really terrible happening to you would make you not want to go back. But I'm like, no, it's like, it kind of left me more in awe of the power of performance and the power of songwriting than I kind of ever have been before, if you know what I mean, like of how powerful it can be. So yeah, there wasn't really any like doubt in my mind that I would go back and do those 2 shows. You know, that's how I wanted to end the tour. It's fucking crazy.
Life is fucking crazy.
It's crazy. It's
Life is
really
crazy.
Good way to stop that. Hold up. You okay, hun?
Yeah, I'm good.
That's tough. The
Oh.
topic of pregnancy is very hard, even from the side of the father, even just seeing what girls have to go through every single time, and just the scare of it when it happens, and it's not inevitable. It's a process through that, so you never know. It's a gift. It's precious. So for what she went through, I actually relate to her when my grandma finally got diagnosed with Alzheimer's.
Yeah.
I remember I was like, I need to go play soccer.
Yeah.
I need to go and like
Be on the field.
showcase
I
something.
need to showcase something.
And it's your talent, and it's feeling in control.
Yeah.
And that's what I think she's really struggling with here, and she's being so honest about it, is the control. And I think a lot of girls have that control as one of their things they have to get over the most.
Yeah. And like for me, when I was listening to this, because I have restarting that thought, but like while listening to this and listening to what she's going through with the songwriting, and I forget the word that she used with the songwriting, but don't let your killer come from within.
Yeah.
What was really crazy about that is I was thinking about that, and as motherhood, what she sacrificed was motherhood. What she sacrificed was an alternative life. It's even something she had said earlier in the interview, is we have all these different lives that we could have lived, but to live one life, you have to sacrifice all the rest. And it was really crazy that when she's talking about the prescience, I think is the word she used, songwriting, she literally wrote, "Don't let your killer come from within," and then had the ectopic pregnancy, which could be a proverbial killer, or in her case, a literal killer.
No kidding, right?
Right?
Yeah,
So
yeah.
that motherhood could be proverbial or literal on that sense of killing a life that you could have lived, which, and I know as a mother, that's so dark to say that, but it's also true. And that's something I fight with. It's very honest. I fight with the potential of other lives. So regardless, it's such a powerful thing for her to be talking about, and then because of how spiritual and mystical she really is, to go through that experience on stage, that would have been like one of those signs from God type of situations for her to say like, hey, by the way, maybe this isn't the choice that you are wanting to have, even though this thought has been in your mind, almost like a prayer. Here's an answer to that thought that you've been having. And like, how terrifying is that? And so it makes so much sense for her to be like, no, I'm not going to let this put me in the hospital and then also kill my career, right? I'm going to finish both of these concerts. I'm going to make sure that I follow through, because that is who she is. She's someone who fights hard and follows through with what she's doing. And you can see the pain that she's going through within that question as well. Like, it's gorgeous. She's such a gorgeous human being.
Absolutely, and I was trying not to lose what I was trying to say there. Man. Oh well.
Crazy. And it's like creepy. I'm just like, oh no, man, don't like let that bit come true. That's yeah, you know, like I'm like, that's creepy. I don't like it.
The whole dance fever of it all.
I remember. I pray that she can realize you can be an artist and a family person.
Yeah.
I think that's the biggest misconception in reality, is how kids stop you from achieving what you want or can do, where we've also seen many examples where the kid is what got the person over the hump.
Yeah.
Right? And just because maybe the kid didn't get you over the hump with lungs and all that, how you started your career, I think it's still an okay thing to want, even if
I think it's an okay thing to want as well.
I just always wish people. I'm a very romantic, loving person, and I've actually had the opportunity to interview many artists that have had to do the same thing that Florence has done, or on the other end have had a kid that then has upped their career
Up their
or whatever,
ante.
right?
Yeah.
So it's just so interesting how she talks out loud and thinks.
Absolutely.
Yeah, and
It really is.
So as you rightly pointed out, I'm sure you probably thought at the time, will you tell us, did you think like, okay, this is me actually coming to terms with this part of my life and trying to process like at what cost, right? How much do I put on into this versus this other side of life, which I really, maybe I want to explore.
Yeah.
And then you find yourself making everybody scream like, oh, I guess this isn't done. Like I've still got to figure stuff out.
I had a
Good
saw
pick,
a
Louisiana.
trauma
Thank you.
specialist who she was like sometimes the instinct to try and like move past a loss like this is to just try again really quickly. And some people do just do that, but she was like, my advice to you would be do not try again until you feel like yourself.
Exactly.
Exactly. And so the place that I feel myself is kind of making work, it's kind of the only thing that it's how I've sort of processed everything in my life is to, if I can create I don't know, I guess this album is my most personal, but it's also one of the like most mythological as well.
Deeply curious.
Yeah.
Deeply curious.
Yeah, I think there was something, it was so kind of bodily what happened.
What's up, honey?
I'm still cold, so I was just looking at the fan.
Put it on hot, then.
To me, and I also, if I'd gotten on the plane to play that festival, which I'm just like a machine. I'm like, no, I can fucking do it. I can do it. I'm such a hypochondriac. Like, as I've said, I'm always like demanding to be taken to the hospital when nothing is happening to me. I'm like, I need to go. I need to go now. They're like, you're completely fine.
Yeah.
Actually, when something really bad was happening to me, it's serious what happened to me. And I think if I'd gotten on the plane to that festival, they were like, you would have come off on a stretcher or worse.
Yeah.
So, but I was totally like that morning, I just gone to get a coffee. I was like, I'm gonna be fine. And I was like, there's this thing that I think some of the themes that I went to in terms of like, it became so much about like life and death and earth and nature because I was like, oh, death is just a doorway. Like I was oblivious to it, but it was just there.
Well, we're such delusional creatures, right? And that's what keeps us going because it's such
I was
there's
like,
so much
well,
chaos.
I think I'm gonna be fine.
Yeah, and we completely ignore that there's death around us all the time.
Yeah.
Like, but they're just leaves on the ground. No, they worked really hard to grow to a point of completion, to drop off. And now we just sweep them away like it's nothing. And yet when it comes down to our own existence, we become, it's like a all-consuming experience.
Just like, off to get a coffee. And also just like a sense, there is a feeling when you're coming to the end of the tour, because I'd also broken my foot and played through it.
Oh my
like
God.
I'd broken my foot.
Trooper.
Wow.
I tried to play through it.
But you broke it on stage.
I broke it on stage.
How?
Yeah, actually, I've never broken anything on stage. It's traversing on and off. Like, so
Right.
I just like
steps.
ran too fast to get back on the stage and I hit my foot against a step
Right.
and cut it.
Yeah.
And I was like, I think I'm okay. I think I can just get through this. And I looked
broke
down
it?
down at my foot. There was just like a pool of blood. So I was like, oh no, is this a bad one? And then when I looked at the blood slightly like bubbling up through the toes, I was like,
Yeah, it's a
fuck.
lot.
And then basically they were like, there's so much like, there was like viral
Wait,
footage.
I just need to say something there because she has a morbid curiosity as well, which I
She
love
does.
about her. So she
She's-
could have elaborated on that blood scene a lot more.
Oh,
if
yeah.
he wasn't like, okay, that's great.
He's like, oh, you're like going into it. You said bubbling. Okay.
That's
like,
enough. Do you see that little bit, or am I looking in the?
like, there's so much like, there was like viral footage.
I gotta hear it one more
blood
time.
slightly like bubbling up through the toes. I was like,
Yeah, it's a
fuck.
lot.
Yeah, it's a
and
lot.
then they,
Yeah, that's a
they were
lot.
Like, there's so much like, there was like viral footage of the Portex coming on and like having to like mop up.
Oh my gosh. The horror scene.
The stage. We were like, is there so? It took them ages, but basically, I went
Blunt
off,
force leg
had
break?
it checked. They were like, you wouldn't be able to move. You know, it's a weird thing with me where people are usually like, you should be in more pain, so you're probably fine. But it's
Yeah.
that strange like adrenaline mixed with a strange sort of like physical toughness.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But it's weird because I can't see like one
You relate.
like vaguely mean comment and not weep. Like I'm not like it's weird. I'm like tough in some areas and very sensitive in others.
Yeah, there is definitely a defiance. I think even when you're not
That's why
breaking.
I love Florence so much. She reminds me of you. Do you want to share quickly with your leg, or are you good?
I was just gonna say when I like fractured my foot putting gas in the car and then went to work and then I was like, we're going to Nanaimo. I never went to the doctor, by the way, until much later, and then there was nothing they could do about it.
Every time with you.
Every time I don't go to the doctor on time,
I'm
and then
trying to
there's
teach
nothing
her
I
to
can
not
do about it.
procrastinate. It's not working well. Here we go.
Your feet or going through really traumatic situations in life and still returning to the stage to perform, let's honor those as really intense life experiences. But from the minute we saw you perform, even as a young person, there was a defiance I always felt on stage of like, I will perform this with everything that I have.
No, it is like it's almost like I'm like, well, I'm not responsible for what she does. I don't even know what's going to happen.
You disassociate a little bit?
Well,
bet.
it is a surrender. I think
It is a surrender.
I think people often ask me like, do you have any spiritual practices? And I do think it's probably the performance is the sort of place where I feel
It's a
like
shamanic enterprise.
I do
Yeah.
just try and I surrender to something kind of other than me. And it does tend to like allow you to do slightly like inhuman feats, I think.
I'd love to talk a little bit about some of the environments that you were drawn to in order to process, or to write, or to just express. I know that you went and did research at the Warburg Institute, which is super interesting.
Yeah, they have like, that's the biggest occult library in
Yeah.
Britain.
Really?
I think.
Yeah,
And
very
obviously,
cool.
like, super fascinating to be able to go back and trace the lineage of image and art and
And
the way
symbolism.
that
and
how it ties us all together. Even though if you look at society today, we couldn't feel like we're further away from that. But that must have been very interesting for you just to kind of connect the dots to some degree as a modern person diving into old practice.
I felt so out of control of my body. It was interesting. I looked into like themes of witchcraft and mysticism, and everywhere that you looked in terms of birth or stories of birth, you came across stories of like witchcraft and folk horror and myths, and it just felt like it.
Deeply misunderstood as well. Like,
Yeah. Well, you know, obviously some of the first women tried as witches were midwives. Some of the first women tried as witches were just because they owned property.
Oh my gosh.
Just like usually they had something that people wanted. So
I believe that's why midwifery was illegal in Canada up until like I think it was like the 40s. Like
Interesting.
it was illegal to be a midwife. You couldn't have it because of like the cult that was surrounding midwifery, like she was saying. So, just a cool tidbit fact.
Which is just like a form of control
form of
it sounds
control.
like the man's not liking. That's
Yeah.
all it sounds like there.
Yeah, keep it with the birth industry away from the hospitals.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
they like had property or land or
Yeah.
so they were like But it was also a lot women living a non-traditional.
as you rightfully said, it would be nice if men found power sexy,
Yeah, that's what I mean.
right?
Yeah.
So you have way too many sheep, which I mean,
Which.
which. So I mean, I did end up just like boiling kind of almost like cauldrons for myself full of herbs, and I needed natural ways to heal as well as the medical things. There's almost just like a sense of trying to find a different, I don't know, yeah, I think it was looking into forms of power, you know.
That's
There's
it.
almost a timeline here, and maybe at least for me, with Everybody Scream, beginning is this idea of like performance and connection, but also what you're going through, and the list at the end of the things, you know, that saved you ultimately, which was like the spells, the injections, and all of it rolled into this experience.
Did. Yeah, that was it. It was the whole,
We'll be right back.
like, I needed it all.
Needed it all.
You know, I did. I needed it all, but the scream of it, you know, the scream at the kind of unfairness of it as well, and the fury, and like, I think I never felt that there were barriers to me, honestly, because of my gender. Like, I just didn't feel them. I feel like I just blasted through, like, thing after, you know, I was just like, no, I'm just like
Defiance again.
Yeah, I just like
Defiance
blasted
again.
through it, and it was sort of only when it came to wanting to have a family that I was like, oh fuck, this is going to be different for me. And like kind of the fury at the unfairness of that, and also the sense that like when I tried,
Waking up early.
the violence of which I was shut out from it, you know, it's like, oh, have I been given this gift, like this enormous gift, which I wanted my whole life, you know, all I wanted to do was sing, but is that somehow going to take something else from me that I would love to have, you know? So
Everything's
I
a sacrifice you
did,
pick.
Yeah.
it's the scream, I think. I think it is a sort of like cruel age in lots of ways, you know, going the 35 to 40 for women, because it's like you're coming to the peak of your powers, or like as a professional or as a creative, and at the same time there is a sense that you're running out of time to have the other things you might want, you know, like family or something else. And I do think that sometimes that feels like a scream.
Yeah.
There's a moment on the record where you...
How you doing, honey? What was resonating very much there for you?
35 is terrifying. Like,
Yeah, you only got a few years for 35?
yeah, I've only got 3 more years. And it's like, it's such a terrifying thing. Like, 30 was terrifying. 30 almost killed me. Oh my God. Like, emotionally. But like, I don't know, 35, like, aging for women is such a thing, because like, I don't know about for men, but like, there's such a biological clock.
There's more for you guys, because we keep producing sperm.
Yeah.
So there's not necessarily, like, at 86, I could impregnate people.
Right.
Technically.
Whereas like 35 is classified as like an old age pregnancy, right? So like,
Yeah,
I
which
forget the word for it, but
It's all these old traditional norms, even from the past, when we
Yeah.
didn't have all these other things to help us get through even pregnancy healthier.
yeah, but like literally I remember turning 30, I felt like, oh my goodness, I'm 30, I'm washed up. Like there's nothing left for me anymore.
Sad.
Right? So like that was
I was with you during that time, so that's sorry to hear.
it was a hard time, less so because I had you, but like I was, before meeting you, I was absolutely petrified about turning 30.
So more leading up to 30.
Leading up to 30 was like pretty tough. And
Because
like,
then you don't know if you're going to have the family and
you
the
don't
marriage
know
eventually.
if you're going to have the family. So like meeting
Which is a
you, I was
sacrifice, right?
I was able to have 2 more kids. I was able to do all that before 30, which I didn't think I was going to have
Absolutely.
at all.
Yeah.
So like that was absolutely petrifying for me, and I had it in my like plan that I was going to own a home and have kids and have my family and be married by the time I was 30. That was like my plan since I was a child.
Mm-hmm.
So leading up to it, it was very terrifying to not meet that goal. So like it's just hearing her now talk about 35. It's like, oh my goodness, yeah, 35 is coming, and then 40, and like it's a scary time. It's a scary time.
Everyone's got to grow up eventually.
Yeah.
I think that's what men's role is choosing to be grown up, which is something you have to go through initiation, where a woman goes through it biologically through nature, and that causes rebellion more.
Yeah.
It's not as picked. It's kind
not
of
as
more
picked.
inevitable to happen, where you kind of can be a child like in a man and not be castrated for it as much, I feel.
Yeah. Whereas women, I feel like, are thrown into the flames a lot for like immaturity or what have you.
Going against traditional norms.
Thrown through the flames for
Yeah.
going against traditional norms.
Talk about Death's Kiss, which is very moving.
I'm just going to move it back to
a
get
moment on.
And I do think that sometimes that feels like a scream.
there's a moment on the record where you talk about death's kiss, which is very moving. And this moment when and it's almost like you're embracing it in that moment because it either feels or breathes like life. I can't remember the exact lyric, but
Yeah, and it tastes like life.
Tastes like life,
Well, that
thank
was
you.
that. I really like. I had, because the closest I came to death was like wanting to make life, you know, and you don't get that without desire. And there was a lot about desire and like where was this feeling going to lead me? And it did feel really magical, you know, like when I was really excited. I think that sometimes the sadness to me is like it did feel magical. I was really excited to, you know, try and start a family. I had wrestled with it. I had wrestled with it on King. I had wrestled with it in Dance Fever, and it felt like this like exciting moment. And it was almost like it so quickly. My mind went quite badly wrong quite fast, you know. So it's almost like there's been a bit of that. It's that sort of grief that experience has sort of been like taken from you, you know, to the sort of sense of being like, oh, let's just see. I'm like, no, that's gone now. Like, but I think what I wanted this record to be is not just a scream, but like an embrace. You know, I think the only thing that goes...
It's wanting to be accepted and loved
The kind
too.
of gift in going through something awful is that
Hey, sweetie.
you can embrace someone who's been through it too, you know? And I think like, it's almost like I had this feeling like I wanted to just put my arms around anyone who had experienced something like this, you know? And I think that is almost like what songwriting is to me. It's about making connection and being able to embrace someone even though you're not physically with them.
what was it like actually performing these songs to tape or into the grid or whatever you had to do to capture them? Because it's one thing to write them, it's another thing. Like Perfume and Milk is one of my favorite songs on the record.
That's so...
And it's interesting because I do feel like this album almost goes in movements. I feel like there's everybody scream into one of the greats. I sort of like, all right, like I'm kind of still trying to figure out what Defiance means from a performance point of view and how it relates to what happened after. Then we get into the whole spiritual curiosity of it all, like, you know, which is dance, you know,
Sympathy Magic.
Sympathy Magic.
Yeah.
And then we get into like the healing almost, where it's like Perfume and Milk.
Yeah.
You know, and so what was it like actually recording, like say Perfume and Milk? Because that song to me is like obviously the connection to nature, the idea of healing through being close to other things that grow and fall, and soil, and returning to the earth.
I think it's interesting because that song was actually the furthest from the event. That was like 2 years, I think, from 2 years from like when it happened. And so it was like
Wow.
It was like processing. It was about healing, and like having watched seasons change and having watched other things like, you know, growing and then returning to the earth, and a sense that like I was also part of that, like
Dust to dust.
nature and part of that cycle. And but that also it was a real song about like healing wasn't linear, you know. As I was trying to tie up the album, a lot of like almost like the feelings would suddenly randomly come back. I'd get randomly completely terrified again, or I would just suddenly be like, it's happening again, it's happening again, it's happening, you know, like I would get suddenly like completely terrified. So it was sort of like looking, it's like healing is slow, it comes and it goes, like, and I was like, oh, like it is slow process. And, you know, sometimes something would trip me up and I would feel like I was just like back in that terror. This record, I really just got so much like healing, I think, just from being in like nature. And obviously Aaron's studio is in Hudson Valley in upstate New York, which is like surround. And I stayed in a little house. It was very like The Witch at the edge of the woods. Like I stayed in a little house on the edge of town, and I like finished the record with Aaron, and it was a sense that like I was like as I I was having to kind of look at how I'd heal, look at the songs that I started the record with, look at how it was going to end, and like piece myself together, you know? And I wanted to put in lots of natural flora and fauna on this record from like, we looked into a lot of like folk songs as well, because there's an amazing period of 70s folk where they're all like into the occult, you know, like Judy Sill, and there's an amazing book called Electric Eden, which is like how when like folk and mysticism all started crossing over, and
Even
so we were
Zeppelin.
looking a lot of that at that period of time as well. And yeah, I was just like exploring all these different themes, but yeah, that song kind of came out of like those kind of things.
Can we talk a little bit about like the process of recording it with Aaron, but just to actually get to the point of singing these songs and performing them, and how Aaron made it feel safe?
So this record started in South London. So I started it in South London, and a lot of the like early stuff and the demos was recorded in South London. Yeah, me and Bowen sort of started it in South London, and then it was kind of like starting to make it in fits and starts as Bowen was on tour, I was on tour, he would go away, Mitski would come to the studio and South, like people kind of came by when they were in London, like Ethel came and did backing vocals on One of the Greats. So like Bowen would go off on tour, and then I would kind of keep chipping away at the songs that we had. And then it just gets to that process with a record where you can no longer see the wood for the trees. You know, I think it was One of the Greats that broke us.
Yeah, I was surprised.
That song was written in one take, but it took 3 years to finish.
Yeah. But you did it in one take?
We did it, me and Bowen did it in one take. It's the guitar and vocal together. And the guitar and vocal are together.
Yeah.
And it was the first time I'd ever sung the song.
I didn't. Fuck you riff as well.
I didn't know. Yeah,
so
I think he like had a riff, and he was like, I've got this riff. So he just started playing the riff, and then I started singing, and then the song just happened.
Yeah.
And we always meant to re-record it, but we didn't.
Yeah.
But it made it a nightmare to produce, like an absolute nightmare, because the time signatures are all over the place. It's slow, it's like speeds up and then it slows down again and then it speeds up again, and like it does time jumps. The tuning is wild. I think someone texted me like, oh my God, I love that key change. I was like, none of that is intentional. None of that is intentional. But it's imperfection.
Yeah.
Like,
that's what makes her great.
When we tried to put it in time, it lost something. When we tried to put it in tune, it lost something. So we needed an absolute wizard to come on board and to help like take that song to the transcendent level it needed to go to without taking away any of its rawness. And I think Aaron is probably the only person that could have done that. Like, he just kind of got it, I think. He was like, no, there's not like replaying that needs to be done. It's like tiny, like, and I think him and his engineer Bella spent literally like days just like micro moving drums, like micro, it was tiny. But yeah, basically when I spoke to him about that track, I was like, oh, okay, like Aaron, because it's quite like a weird like project. Like, it was so wild. Some of it was like so out of tune, and I was like, but we need to keep all that.
Yeah.
Some of the sounds were technically like incredibly like ugly or brutal, and I was like, no, it was like an ugly and brutal experience in parts. Like, we need those sounds. But I think it was a confusing record for some people, but Aaron completely understood it. He was like, no, I get this. So yeah, I went out to his studio to finish it up, and it helped that like me and Bowen were like huge fans of The National, you know, so it all just kind of made sense. And yeah, I went out there and spent like a month with Aaron kind of finishing it up and tying it together. Because there was also like, I was also working with Danny Hall, so there was an electronic element, like I'd worked with Mitski, like, but I was like, with Dance Fever, because of the pandemic, I hadn't been able to get in a room with like one producer and just finish a whole record together. And that actually was incredibly distressing on that record. Like, we were all separated, we couldn't even get to each other. Like, a lot of it had to be finished remotely. I was like, I am never doing that again. Because it left me with like I don't know if anyone else can, but I can hear in that record when the pandemic starts.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God,
that's hilarious.
That's That's when the pandemic started. Like, I can like hear it. And I was like, oh my God, that's where it starts. And so with me, it was like that record was about trying to make a record out of this incredibly fractured period of time where you were really isolated from each other. And I didn't get to finish it in a room with one producer. It was kind of like pulled together in lots of different ways.
I can imagine sitting with Aaron or being with Aaron in the
Because she just went off there. Gives the best answers I've almost ever seen from an artist. Just goes.
Phenomenal answers.
So like there's so much you can take from this, and part of the goal with doing this, Louis Santa wanted us to make sure we had this interview done so that when we get to her album, because we're gonna do all the other songs from her album, we kind of get a little more snippets of what they all were meaning, and what now we can guess what song was more like pandemic or anything. Or is she talking about a different album right now, or was she talking about the same?
No, I think this is Everybody's Scream album.
And it just took 3 years to make, and because that makes sense, because 2022 and then 2025 is when it came out. 3 years. Pandemic's at its peak at that moment and all that stuff. So interesting to hear what she went through.
It's so interesting to hear what she went through and the healing process that she's had to go through on the beginning of the album to the end of the album, writing about motherhood, different things that she was going through, the healing that she had to go through. Very tough subjects, very raw. That's something I love about Florence and the Machine, is just how raw she is, how raw the song, the lyricism is, and then the music behind it is just so beautiful.
She can't hide it.
She can't hide it.
She can't hide anything. It's she wears her emotions, and I think for the best.
Yeah, absolutely.
Okay, y'all, I was just overheating there as well. We're ready to go. We're in the final 10-minute mark here, too. Thank you guys for being a part of our journey as well. Subscribe if you're not a Chronican yet, because we've got a lot more Florence and the Machine content coming down the rabbit hole.
Like pulled together in lots of different ways.
I can imagine sitting with Aaron or being with Aaron in the final stages with you and Bowen and Mitski, and you've all created this kind of, okay, it's all here. We just have to put it together.
Yeah, I was like, it's all here. We've got these incredible sounds, like these incredible people. But I just need like a focused month where we put it all together, which is now actually quite old school. It's quite like old school.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I think almost since the pandemic, doing things remotely or finishing up is kind of like normal now.
You couldn't on a record
I'm like,
like
no,
this.
it sends me crazy. I don't want to do that.
You couldn't on a record like this. I mean, just the notes back and forth to get it to keep its personality, but
I'm
also
too
get structure.
Like
6 months just to get one song into a place where it feels good.
I would have spent another month in upstate, and Aaron was like, it's done.
It's done.
He's like, you're already the person who spent the longest amount of time here. Like, I was like, I'm going to stay. He was like, you can go home. It's done.
But it must have been really emotional at times hearing the songs come together, because, as you said at the very beginning of our conversation, it was almost a fog, a process.
Yeah, I think I was really I was really angry when I recorded. I can't quite remember. There's like 6 months where I just like, it was quite a blurry year, but I think I just remember being like really pissed off. I was like, oh, now you want me to fucking sing after everything I've been through?
Yeah.
Now I have to sing.
And who are you talking to, yourself?
Just myself.
Yeah.
Or just like, I think I was like, it was weird. I think I was like moody about getting in the vocal booth or whatever.
I'm not surprised. I mean, this is the wrestling I feel that we've been hearing to some degree in your music, which is just like, I want to honor this gift. I want to honor this opportunity to reach people and these words and this voice, but at the same time.
Do you know what? It was interesting. I was scared to, it was good. It was amazing. I got a little scared to push myself vocally because I thought something would break. Because when something breaks on stage, you think everything's going to break. And actually it was kind of like, but I think I did actually end up doing that, like almost like as a furious test of like my abilities, you know, and but actually then being really annoyed with myself because like, now I'm gonna have to fucking perform this live. When you hit a note, like there's a note in Symphony Magic, like but you're like belting full out, and as I did it, I was like, this is gonna fuck me up.
Nice.
Well, I mean, you can have it all. I mean,
and you can have it all as well. So I do think when I was in there, I was doing it, but I was also like, future me is gonna be so annoyed with this, you know, because it's gonna. But do you know what? That I've actually been going back to opera training because what had started to happen was I'd started to tense up as I was hitting high notes out of fear of breaking something.
Right.
Vocally.
Yeah, and actually that's the worst thing that you can do. And I went back to opera And she was like, everything is there. You can hit all, like, just relax.
Really?
And that's been really amazing. And so performing those songs after that, like, I felt like a part of me was coming back to me. You know, I was starting to trust
great
my
to
body
hear.
again.
Oh, wow.
That fear of breaking something, do you know what that's rooted in? Like, obviously, the inability to sing would be devastating, but the fear's got to come from somewhere, right? Because it probably wasn't there when you were younger. You wouldn't.
Oh, no, I didn't care. Like, I just, like...
A few pints down the Camden Lock and you'd have
But I
smacked
was
the
quite
shit out of it, right?
drunk.
Like,
Yes,
that's
I was like,
literally
quite drunk.
literally
I was
it.
quite drunk, so it didn't like.
I was
I was like
drunk, I love it.
totally like.
No,
you
all
know, what did I? There was this line from a song
That's
that I
so
didn't
great.
end up using, which is like whirling dervish with a death wish. You know,
Yeah.
I just didn't
Yeah.
like. I didn't think about it, like the situations I put myself in or whatever. Like, but that was a song about my like young self, which was like whirling dervish with a death wish.
Oh, reminds me of my sister.
Yeah, I just didn't like, there was a part of me that didn't really want to exist, so I had like no care for myself or whatever, but you do have this crazy like, I think I just got to an age where I'm like, oh, like life is fragile, and stuff had started to happen to me. I think it's also if you've been sort of lucky enough to have been cocooned in some way from the big tragedies of life, if they have been lucky enough to like have not encroached upon you, once you get over 35, like stuff's gonna start happening. You know, do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
We've just got to the age where stuff starts to happen, like the big stuff, the life and death stuff.
Yeah.
And I think in some ways it has sort of made my connection to work and performance like deeper.
Totally.
And in other ways I'm like,
That's great to hear.
fuck, I need to start actually training. You know, I'm just like, oh, I think I have more respect for my body and what I put it through. Like I just used to not train for tour. The shows will sort it out. The first 3 shows will be tough, but then I'll be fine.
Yeah.
I don't know. I didn't get into this job to be like disciplined. You know, I've got no discipline
Yeah.
really. And it's having to learn discipline as you get older in order to just like keep
She's so
performing
open. I
at
love
your
it.
highest level, you know?
That's a real letting go process. The
love
album
it too.
finishes in a place, to me at least, which feels like a realization, a letting go of a preconception of what love
Yeah.
was going to be.
Yep.
And that really it can exist in ways that one could never really truly have imagined when they were young and trying to sort of control the narrative, right? Like,
Yes. I mean, and love was like, when I wrote that song, I was like, okay, so if the songs have this like terrible prescience, you know, if they have this power, if they are spells or manifestations or,
Yeah.
you know, prayers, let this one be the one that comes true. You know, like let this one be the one that is realized in the world, not just for myself, but just for everyone, you know, just for like, so
like it
and
hit a lot
after
of
an
people.
album that is so full of like desire and fury and has this like
was that?
ache, you know, ache. Like I think the word scream is in every song in some capacity. Like it's there, like it's threaded through in so many ways that I wanted to end it on just this sense of like peace and resting and getting to breathe out. I think there's so much like primal sort of panting energy in some of the songs, and I wanted this to just sound like a breath out at the end of it.
It
I
really
love
did.
the sense of possibility at the end of this album. It's emotional to listen to because, you know, there's so much life lived in so many ways through the making of it and listening to it. But at the end, it does just feel, at least to me, like there is a lot of sort of hope and a lot of opportunity to live the life you want to live. How does it feel to you?
I think like the songs are always like 3 steps ahead of me. It's been that
Oh,
my
yeah.
whole
That's
life.
cool.
It's sort of like
Almost
going
your
back
prophecies for
to
you.
Delilah, like I'm
presence.
going to be free and I'm going to be fine, but maybe not tonight. You know, it's like wrestling with addiction and but the song's kind of like, were like, you're going to be okay. Not tonight. Tonight you're in Miami,
Yeah.
but you're going to be okay. And it's also just like, okay, maybe love is not about the chase. Maybe contentment is not about the chase and achievement and, you know, the feeling like it's never quite good enough, try again. I was like, maybe surrendering to something and more like resting than running. Peace is coming, you know, like, and I'm hoping that, and again, like it is like have a projection of a future, you know, that where I feel at peace. But I don't know.
Oh, no.
I hope she finds peace.
I'll say that.
hope so
I don't
too.
know that because I don't. I'm just like, I wonder if it's just
Who
like
does?
this constitution thing where I'd be like, finally, yes, I made it, and like, I have a family and I'm at peace. I'm like, I need to get back on stage.
Probably would
I don't
happen.
know if there's like there's a Martha Graham quote which I've been thinking about a lot on this record, which is divine dissatisfaction, and that's creativity, and it's the thing that keeps us going. It's this sense that like it just keeps propelling you forward to make more things, to make new discoveries, like constant curiosity, constant like want to evolve and change, but it does come from some restless spirit or something. But I'm hoping, I'm really hoping that And Love is the one that comes true next.
Aw.
Please.
That's what
None
I mean.
of the
I'm
scary
praying
ones
for her.
now. Thank you. Okay, just the nice ones. Only the nice ones, just for a bit.
You got it. Good way to end that. That's
Great way to end that.
good job, Zane. Incredible. That was a lot of fun, very insightful. Makes us very excited to get into the other songs for this monumental album for her. And this one was one that couldn't be done at a different time. And I know those things that get produced in those moments where you're only feeling
Yeah.
like this once in a while.
I have to produce this right now because if we delay it, it'll never get done.
It's gone, and you don't want to have these what ifs.
Exactly.
You know? And I think that's what she was openly sorting out. I wouldn't call it struggling, but she's openly sorting out with her music, with her conversations, what she really wants to do as a person, as an artist, and everything in between.
Absolutely.
Right? Because she is someone a lot of people probably idolize as well, for like someone that is a strong, powerful female. Like they were talking about, a lot of men are scared of powerful women, and she's someone that for me is really intriguing just because of her realness that is mixed with her power.
Absolutely.
So-
She has such a realness to her, such a rawness about her power as well. It is very witchy. It is very
The gentle voice with the cackling
with the
laugh,
cackling laugh,
you know,
right?
so it's like, what's really thinking behind there? And that's why she's like, well, we're not starting until after Miami, because we all know Miami parties hard. So it's just like she's very real about what she's struggling with.
Exactly.
And that makes you so human, and makes for a really, really insightful interview. And
Absolutely.
they were just in tune with each other so well, and you can tell she was appreciative of him actually knowing what he was talking about.
Yeah. Not only did he know what he was talking about, he had an in-depth understanding of her album that was beyond just, oh, I listened to it. It was a in-depth understanding of the album, of the music, of the emotion of the album, of the story behind the lyrics.
Now I want to see Perfume and Milk, right?
Right, now I want to see Perfume and Milk. He said it was his favorite song. I need to know why it's his favorite song.
Totally.
Sounds very intriguing, Perfume and Milk,
Yeah.
you know? Like, it brings you back, I think, and she was saying when she was writing Everybody Scream, which is the the album name, but I believe it was also one of the track names.
Yeah, that's the first one we
The
did
first
from it.
one we did from it. And she was like, that's how I wanted to end off the album, as a whisper. I was like, you're right, you did end it off like a whisper. But I didn't realize that was the end of the album, but that's what she said in the interview.
I didn't hear that, but maybe.
Maybe, but that's what I think I heard.
I thought I heard at the beginning, because they were talking about how it starts with the greatest ever, or whatever that
or maybe
song
it was just
called.
end off the song with
Yeah,
like a
I
sigh
think it was
or
more
a
ending
whisper.
off, yeah.
But like I was like, you know what? You did do that. You're completely right. And now that you've said that, I can really hear it in my memory about listening to that song.
Right.
Right? So it's just everything that she was saying, like even as a woman and as a mother, I was really resonating with
You
her.
went through the emotional roller coaster with her, and that's the sympathy and the magic that art really does for people. It
Absolutely.
allows you all to empathize together, and then you realize you're not alone through some of these struggles and triumphs.
Yeah.
Because part of a scream is a triumph as well, because you're standing up for yourself.
It really is.
You know
Sorry,
what
as
I
I'm
mean?
yawning here.
No worries. And so before we end this, I want to thank you guys for spending your time with us. We are doing more songs from this album, so definitely stay tuned. Let us know in the comments below what you thought about this reaction and this interview. If it's your first time, let us know as well. Like this video if you had a good time, though. If you want to go the extra mile like Louis Santa and get your own reaction requests, we have YouTube and membership options that can help you get that. And we are always very thankful for something new. So thank you guys so much. We are now exiting the rabbit hole, folks.
Thank you so much for being here, everyone. Thank you so much, Louis Santa, for bringing Florence and the Machine back down the rabbit hole. I can't wait to see what else you have coming down the rabbit hole, because you always bring something amazing when you have your requests. So thank you so much for that, Louis Santa. Peace and love, everyone.
God bless y'all.
Take care, and bye for now.